Chapter 5. Lux in Universum. Heidi gestured toward a shadowy figure on the other side of Monica's office. Light from the fireplace faintly outlined the silhouette of an average-sized man. As he moved closer, Hecate's blue glow illuminated him enough to make out his other features. The man wore thick-framed glasses, had a shiny, bald head, and sported a doctor's lab coat. He paused at the coffee table to inspect the tarot cards, then glanced at the television. "Monica Eames? This is Brad," Heidi explained. "Are you another bot?" Monica asked. "No, I'm a conscious being just like you. I don't know how to put this." Brad's white smile pierced through the darkness. "But I'm kind of a big deal. People know me. I'm very important." Monica got the pop culture reference and giggled, allowing her to relax without the help of Heidi's drugs. "Are you human?" "No." Brad's admonition sent goosebumps racing across Monica's skin. "Why do you look human, then?" "Would you prefer I was one of the bugs?" Brad gestured toward the television again. "I'm using a cloak to project a familiar image. We found that mirroring your form avoids the biological instincts to fight, flight, or freeze." Monica found Brad's matter-of-factness unexpected. "So you're an alien, yes." Brad grinned from ear to ear. "And you're showing yourself to everyone else, like Heidi?" "No one else on your planet knows who I am. Not yet," Brad explained. "That's intentional, because I'm recruiting for a special program. There's one spot available, and I'm offering it to you." Monica sat forward. "I'd be the Alpha and the Omega?" "To start," Brad affirmed. "But my hope is that by studying you first, I'll learn how to recruit other individuals like you." "How many are you searching for?" "I'm expecting to settle on a baker's dozen." "To do what?" Monica tapped her fingernails on the desk. "I'm building a team of research participants to help us understand your form during the simulated social experiments I design. The data generated by the cohort members at my lab are an important prerequisite for reaching the first milestone of Project Noble and integrating Earth into our cosmic civilization. The data will also refine Heidi's social cortex." "I don't know what that is," Monica admitted. "Social cortex?" "Yeah. The cortex is the outer layer of your brain and plays an important role in manifesting consciousness in this material existence. Similarly, Heidi is a subsumption architecture artificial intelligence, built using layers from the resulting data." "So these simulated experiments are called subsumption?" Brad removed his glasses and rubbed the bridge of his nose before placing them back on his face. "Sure, that's a perfect working title. Now, the real-time data the cohort generates will feed into the layers of Heidi's architecture, allowing her to progress and become a more effective emissary between the Federation and your form." "You keep using that word." Monica bounced her focus between Brad and Heidi. "But I don't know what a form is." "That's the Federation's nomenclature for a distinct collective consciousness. What you might call a species," Brad explained. Monica's tapping intensified. "Why me?" "Without fail, they always ask that." Brad winked at Heidi before turning to answer Monica. "Because of everything you are, and everything you could become. Of the 8 billion individuals among your form, you occupy the most important position given the current relationships in your life and the relationships you have yet to make. You'll never be in any real danger during these experiments, and when you wake up, you'll have no memory of them. But we don't expect you to work for free. We're prepared to reward you handsomely with tech." Monica raised an eyebrow. "What's tech?" "A one-way version of the cloaking technology I'm using to project this human image," Brad answered. "It'll allow you to manipulate how you interact with the wider world, but without the ability to affect other people's perceptions." "And I'm the only person that gets tech?" "If you survive selection, and I'm confident you will," Brad encouraged, "then you can have as much tech as you desire. If you want to be the lone soul on the planet with a unit, that's an option. Or you could distribute billions of units and transform the world. The choice is yours." "What's my role in the Federation's battle plan?" Anthony asked Heidi as they watched Hecate. "The Federation isn't here to do the heavy lifting for your form. That's not possible. This is about working together to drive collective progress. To that end, your unique skills with data will be an instrumental part of humanity's resistance against the Confederation. However, that's secondary to your continued role as a guardian for your little brother." "Marcus?" Anthony turned to face Heidi. He may be the most important individual to the war effort. Despite his significance, he still relies on your love and support. But most of all, he needs your protection until he can learn the life lessons you know are ahead of him. He isn't ready to stand on his own yet, and that makes him vulnerable. To what? The Confederation also knows how important he is. As part of their strategy, they're pursuing ways to stop him. In particular, Marcus needs help opposing a woman that'll stand in his way. Diana felt the power returning to her body. Heidi was still rambling about the coming war and everyone's choice to pick sides, but the sight of her agents talking to themselves absorbed Diana's attention. She refocused, scooting to the edge of her seat, ready to test her strength by lunging at the Federation mouthpiece. But the AI's next words made her delay. You don't have to be an obstacle. You can choose to be an ally. This is your chance to help humanity. Isn't that what you've always wanted? Instead of adding more pain to the world. Heidi's comment triggered waves of memories about her mother, and she twirled a piece of her blonde hair. What the hell does that mean? Marcus Winthrop Adams. What about him? He's critical to the Federation's effort to save humanity and the universe, said Heidi. You, more than anyone else, can help him find the right path forward. Help Marcus? And you'll help yourself. You expect me to stand in his shadow? Heidi smiled. I know you won't like hearing this, but the only thing you can control in the biggest struggle is the choices you make. Choose to support him. Everything else is above your pay grade, and no amount of animus or conspiring will change that. But it could sink your form. Jordan couldn't let go of his trepidation. He didn't trust anything Heidi said. Are you listening? She asked. Not really. Fear clouds your mind. You have a powerful eye, and a more powerful voice. Use them to help stop the Confederation by supporting your friend. Marcus, he's the key to your survival. Against the Confederation? Yes, Heidi affirmed. How do I know the Confederation even exists? And how do I know they're the bad guys? I'm supposed to take your word for it? Listen to your intuition. It's more powerful than you think. What's it telling you? That any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic? Wisdom of Arthur C. Clarke. This is part of Project Bluebeam, isn't it? Jordan sneered. You're not real, and Hecate is an elaborate projection. A hologram. The apocalyptic scenario you're trying to scare us with is a mirage meant to take control of society. Is that so? You create the crisis, make a credible demonstration of your power to save us, and then we willingly put the yokes around our necks. Why are you so interested in Marcus? I don't see how he fits into your plan. Despite what your fear is telling you, Heidi replied, the Confederation exists, and no one is more capable of saving your form than Marcus. It doesn't matter if you believe the threat is real. What matters is whether you'll support your best friend in fulfilling his destiny. But it'll take your entire form. He's the first among equals, and needs your help. Or you can continue to cower in the corner. Velia stroked the black star tattoos on her right forearm with her fingertips. There was no reason to believe what Heidi was claiming, Velia told herself. But the idea that Virgil was her brother made a lot of the puzzle pieces fit together. Especially the Corsican syndrome they'd developed over the last few years of training. The phenomenon was usually experienced between twins, but a blood bond of any kind made more sense than it taking place between total strangers. I assure you it's true, Heidi said, as if reading her mind. You won't stop me. Pride before the fall, Heidi grinned. If you're referring to a physical confrontation, then you're correct. For the moment. Because you have your aura, the Federation can't touch you. But in mere months, a unit of Federation forces will be trained and ready to fight. Operators will be able to punch through your force field with their power gloves. Velia's heart skipped a beat at hearing herself associated with humanity again. Or you could become an ally, learn who you truly are, and help save your form, said Heidi. Your mother and Janice included. Why me? Marcus choked on his words. Heidi stared into his soul. Every network has a set of nodes on which the entire system's stability rises or falls. If the order of operations is right, that can set collapse down to a single inflection point. You don't understand how your form is interconnected, or how it's linked to the rest of existence. To use a naturalistic metaphor, you can't see the forest for the trees. Not yet. But right now, you're that inflection point, that singularly important node. It will be impossible for you to do this alone, because you're not the entire network, but you are the key to saving the system. With the support of those closest to you and the Federation, you'll realize your potential, defeat the Confederation, and fulfill your destiny. The pair sat together in silence. Marcus reflected on what this disclosure meant. How's the rest of the world taking the news? Better than expected, Heidi replied. People are pretty reasonable when they aren't being driven by fear to act as a mindless mob. There have been exceptions, of course. What does that mean? Suicides? Murder, suicides? People fleeing on foot into the wilderness with no idea what they're doing? It's inevitable, regardless of how disclosure happened. Some among your form aren't prepared to share this universe. Marcus paused to organize his thoughts. Why didn't the government announce your arrival to the world? It wasn't their choice. But Project Noble has the acquiescence of your governments, who, except for North Korea, have signed a peace treaty with the Federation. Why not North Korea? You can't save people from themselves, Heidi replied. Not when they're living in fear under a disinformation bubble. With time, that will become clearer. But we're getting bogged down in how things are, not how they can be with your help. I'm offering you something special. Something only a handful of other individuals will ever get. Which is a guaranteed spot in one of our Federation Acculturation and Cooperation Tract classes, launching at every major institution of higher learning next semester. Graduates of this program will become praetors, human emissaries working with the Federation on behalf of your form as part of Project Noble. A semester that starts in 2 weeks. The classrooms will be ready. A single class with 13 students will take place at your school. We want you to occupy one of those seats. I came to the University of Utah so I could be with Jordan. If you enroll, you can sponsor him for another seat. Marcus took the memento mori from his pocket and gripped it tightly in his right hand. He had no idea who Monica was, or how their paths would cross because of a similar decision she was making halfway across the valley. I'm in, Monica and Marcus said simultaneously, like entangled spirits, immune to physical and temporal distance. What now? To secure peace, Heidi declared, we prepare for galactic war.